Hey Brandon, how you doing?
Hey, Luke, I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. So I'm here with Brandon from Turkey Mountain Taxidermy, and we're just going to do a bit of an interview and going to learn a bit more about you and Turkey Mountain Taxidermy and your experience with Mount Monitor.
Absolutely,
So
man. Can't wait.
awesome. So tell us a bit about yourself and Turkey Mountain Taxidermy. How did you get into taxidermy and establish your own business?
Sure, man. Interesting story. I was a computer nerd for 16 years, and COVID sent all the computer nerds home, and computer nerds had to find something else. We had a hard pivot to taxidermy. I officially started business in December of 2020, and been downhill ever since.
So you know, where did your original sort of training and passion for taxidermy develop?
Yeah, good question. I learned from my uncle probably about 20 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
42 now, so when I was about 18, 19 years old, I learned from my uncle in a really small, dark shed that most people probably picture in their head when they think of taxidermists.
Right. Okay. Awesome. What would you say is your favorite thing to mount?
Man, probably my passion is white-tailed deer. That's
Yeah.
what I grew up hunting here, and that's kind of where our hunting heritage, really founded in white-tailed deer here. So those always have a special meaning,
Yeah.
day in, day out.
And you're located in Rome, in Georgia, yeah?
Rome, Georgia, yes, sir. Northwest Georgia.
Awesome. And so, just jumping a bit into the business side, how were those formative years of Turkey Mountain in the first 1 to 2 years when you pivoted into actually having a business and mounting and doing your taxidermy at the same time?
Yeah, so it was kind of crazy because as a computer nerd, I knew immediately that I didn't want books of, papers, intake forms, just notebooks with years labeled on. I knew that wasn't
Yeah.
what I wanted to do. And so early on, probably 2 years in my second year, I ended up with QuickBooks and running
Mhm.
everything on QuickBooks for a couple of
Right.
years,
Right.
which, like it didn't do everything I wanted it to, but it did enough for me to get invoices, get paid,
Right.
keep up records, that thing. And so, I ran that for a couple of years until, that
Yeah.
fateful internet search, and I found Mount Monitor.
Right. Yeah. So tell us about that. Like QuickBooks, sufficed enough to scrape through. At what point did it start to feel like you needed a better system and that internet search and looking for something? When did that sort of occur?
Yeah. Yeah. So I went down, I had a knee surgery, and I was just in planning for that. I was trying to find help for my business, and I was going like an unorthodox way in my brain, thinking I could find a way to help better manage my business
Mm,
that would give me the help that I so I could do other taxidermy things, right?
right.
I didn't
Right.
have to hire a skinner necessarily if I could find management software and I could
Mm,
do the skinning kind of thing.
yeah.
And so I started looking around for taxidermy softwares, and there's only a handful of you guys, but
Mm,
immediately when I saw Mount Monitors features and the layouts and everything, like I knew that was the one I was interested in. And
yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of how that was born.
Yeah. I remember when we first met in your knee surgery, and so that was a tough time for you. Can you talk me through, like, managing and juggling the business and how Mount Monitor came into that aspect there?
Yeah, man. So and once I got healed, like it really set me back like 6 to 8 months of steady
Mm,
shop work, which is
mm,
a
mm.
lot for a
Yeah.
self-employed person. And so right there where I started getting better, I realized I was overwhelmed. There was a backlog, there was stuff that had piled up on me that it's just kind of hard to see through it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I ended up just biting the bullet, buying the printer, and starting to label the locations and um, setting up my stages and things of that nature. And
Mm,
through that process, developed a standard operating procedure for my business.
right.
Which now I went from being buried under deer from last year or the year before last year, as well as the current year.
Mm.
Now we're going to be done with everything in house before deer season this year. Completely
That's
caught up, back on top of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So having that clarity, through Mount Monitor to go where everything is and what stage it's at sounds like, clearing that huge backlog. Speaking of, how are you expecting this year to turn out now that, you've got a standard operating system and your procedures and Mount Monitor behind you?
Dude, I think it's going to be like buttery smooth. I have zero like we have the booking QR code
Yeah.
hanging up in our intake room. So when customers come in, they can put their own thing in there while they're waiting, because all in deer season there'll be 5 or 6 people show up at the same time.
Right,
And
exactly.
so instead
Yeah,
of everybody waiting on me, they can just scan that and put it in themselves. Saves
yeah.
us a little headache and time, and I think it's going to be a lot better for the customers and us.
Yeah, yeah. So you shared with me that your customers have been enjoying, particularly the client portal. Can you talk me through like how, presenting that at the client portal and getting paid, like how has that had an effect on the business?
Yeah, man. So the client be packed up to ship, it's shipping, it's on its way, whatever. We like that instant feedback, and the customers love seeing their stuff move through the process. And the way we set up our process, we start, reminding people about balances when we get ready to mount their things. And so far, a majority of the people clear those balances almost immediately upon getting that text.
Yeah,
They're sending their balances over, and that keeps us on time, keeps my paycheck steady. I'm not having to wait a month to get paid on stuff, and that's what keeps us rolling. So it's been a great help, man. It's huge.
yeah. Awesome. That's exactly what we want to hear. Um, you know, our goal has been to help you from day one and overcome that surgery and get things aligned. And so I'm really happy that the upcoming season sounds like it's going to be a big one for you. With that, what would you say to other taxidermists who may still be using notes and spreadsheets or piecemeal a binder here or that kind of thing, or they're even on the edge of like they've been looking at Mount Monitor and they're like not too sure about making the jump, or what would you say to them?
Yeah, man. All right. If it's easy, if I can afford it, you can afford it. First of
Mm,
all, so like people always talk about having an expensive monthly payment, and that's
mm,
not something it's not even fathomable for me because of all the things that Mount Monitor does for me. It
mm,
saves me so much time and money. It's
mm.
ridiculous because of the ability to scan things into locations that are connected to stages that send out these text messages to these. I can send out 5 text messages in 5 seconds almost. It's
Yeah,
just simple. And,
yeah.
it's such a help, man. If you're still doing, button notes and paper, um, you're going to have to quit at some point,
Mm.
like, and the sooner the better. That's what I'll tell you.
Right. Yeah. So looking back, this year with Mount Monitor, has there ever been a sort of a moment, an aha moment where you go, okay, there's been a better way, and I found that better way, and your biggest win for Turkey Mountain as the business overall?
I just the ability to have a software that manages everything has
Mm,
been like the aha moment. It's like I thought I had it under control with QuickBooks and that kind of thing, but when you go to, I have one helper and he tans everything and he moves his stuff through the locations, and you're able to keep up with that. See the scans of people as we grow and add people. We'll be able to see what people are doing week to week, day to day, just through the scans, and that much management is, it's, I mean, what everybody wants.
yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, working with us, and to be honest, I can't wait for this year for you and to support you long into the years ahead.
Heck yeah, Luke. Same thing, buddy. That's
I
exciting.
appreciate you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.